welcome friends. My name is Avinash Gorakshakar and I welcome all of you again to another interesting episode of Konexio HighFlyers. Friends, as all of you are aware, these episodes help us understand emerging companies from emerging sectors, and we make it a point to talk to the promoters, top managements of such companies, so that all of us can understand these companies in a much better way. We get to know the company's business model, the promoter's journey, as well as we also understand, what are the growth prospects going forward. So, friends, today we have got a very interesting company which is operating in the electric vehicle space. The company's name is BikeWO Green Tech Limited, and we have the privilege and pleasure of having, the CEO of the company, Mr. Saral Talwar. Uh, Mr. Talwar, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm quite sure that in this small interaction today, we'll be able to understand your company in a much better manner.
Thank you, Avinash, for having me on your show. And it's actually a privilege for me to be here and love to share whatever we can with you.
Okay. So, Mr. Talwar, the first question, which is very basic and elementary, we would like to know, if you could explain to us what is the business model of our company, what is the main product line? I mean, I do understand that we are into two-wheeler electric vehicle retailing. So, if you could share some thoughts on the business which you have set up, and secondly, if you could also tell us something about your business journey. How did this business journey start? Was it a first generation effort from your side, or was your father into this business earlier? You took over and now you migrated to this business. So if you could please share your thoughts.
Thank you, Avinash. I'll start with my journey. Yes, my family has been in mobile, specifically dealership business, for over 35 years now. My father started his career as a dealer for Asia, and then I had a dealership for Hyundai Motors, and then we further moved on to taking dealership for Bajaj Auto and also Volvo cars. So we have been, into business and into retailing. So when the EV boom came, and a lot of EV two-wheelers came into the market, we saw there was a huge potential or a huge problem actually in the market, where there were over 400 to 500 manufacturers, oblique OEMs, oblique importers of EVs. So customers were very confused what vehicles to buy. Dealers were confused what brands to take for dealership. And also, especially in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, it would be impossible for all these people to find dealers. You can only find very, very good dealers, 200, 100, let's say out of 500, even 100 people wanted to set up a dealership in a small tier 2 or a tier 3 city, it would be very difficult. So we realized that we have to come up with some model where we can identify some good players out of these, try to see who's giving good service, who's giving a good product, who's a good background. We do a background check of the OEM, and then we add them to our fleet, and we typically become something like a marketplace where all our selected OEMs, 6 to 8 to 10 OEMs, are available in one store. So we started the first concept of having a flagship brand store where we have a curated list of 6 to 8, 10 OEMs, and you have all the products available in one place.
Okay.
So that is basically the whole business model. And here we don't own the stores. These stores are mostly franchise owned and franchise operated, where we become somewhere in the middle of an OEM and a dealer.
Okay. Understood. Mr. Talwar, now tell us one thing. Now, since you said that you have a bunch of electric vehicle products in these showrooms, and these showrooms are basically franchisee owned. If you could tell us which are the typical brands which you cater, because we saw in your prospectus several brands, but if you could share some names for us so that we can understand what is the product profile you try to promote, and obviously after you do your due diligence you make these products available to the customer. So sir, iske bare mein kuch bataiye.
We do not deal with the top companies who have already established their own showrooms. So we deal with, you can say, A category, not the A plus category OEMs. So some of the main OEMs that we have on board, we have Quantum, which is based in Andhra. We have Battery, which is based in Rajasthan. We have Goreen, which is Gemopai, which is based in Delhi. We have Sigma, which is based in Maharashtra. So like that, we have taken all B plus and A category OEMs who have a good product, who have something unique in their product, and then we put them into this bucket.
Okay. And Mr. Talwar, just to understand, when you evaluate a product from a OEM, what are the cross checks, what are the checks and balances which you do apart from the pricing? technically आप क्या देखते हो? How good is the vehicle? What is the durability of the vehicle? What is the response of the customers? How do you finally select a vendor and then put that product in in the showroom? So any idea on this? If you could tell us some checks and balances which you do upfront, and then you decide, okay, you want to promote X, Y, Z or ABC brand.
It's actually a very good question because, in fact, that is the most difficult part because all these OEMs are hardly 2 or 3 years old, so they don't really have a big legacy that we go upon. So, what we try to do is we try to see their legacy in terms of who was their parent company, from which background they are coming, what experience they had earlier, and obviously the product. We are like we send a technical team, they drive the product, they test drive the product. We even talk to their existing customers and dealers and try to get some feedback on their service levels, and that is how we finally end up choosing the OEM.
Okay, okay, understood. And are these relationships, exclusive for that particular region? Like, for example, in a particular tier 2, tier 3 market, is that relationship with that, OEM which you enter, is it an exclusive relationship, or is it like, there is some other company also which does distribution? So, is the area geographically, yours? For example, in a particular tier 2, tier 3 market, is some exclusivity given to you by that OEM? So, in that area, the OEM will not sell directly. You are yourself going to put up your dealer network, and you all are going to do the sales. So does something like this work out in our industry?
See, in automobile industry, in dealerships, no dealership ever gets an exclusive area. You can take the traditional OEMs, ICE engine vehicles or EVs, no OEM will ever give you exclusivity. But yes,
Okay,
there is always a working understanding that if it is especially a tier two, tier three cities, so none of the OEMs are putting their dealers because they are very happy with the service. If it is bigger cities, tier one cities, they definitely do have a geographic area. So if they have an
yeah,
existing dealer, we don't put within 5 kilometers on them, and similar, they don't put around
okay,
us.
okay, understood. Okay, now in terms of the current distribution network, Mr. Talwar, if you could give us some idea that what is the current distribution network we enjoy, in terms of our franchisee network in tier 2, tier 3 markets. And typically, apart from the products, do you also provide any service, kind of facilities also, assuming that there are some, customers who buy the product from these franchisee outlets, there is some servicing, which also needs to be done. So यहाँ पे भी कुछ help do these dealer outlets, these franchisee outlet, do they give it? I mean, are we also doing this part apart from selling the product? Some servicing also is done by these outlets.
Yes, all our outlets are 3S facility outlets, and we do sales service everything on one place. And
Okay,
that said, we have close to 82 appointed dealers, out of which about 55, 56 are operational, other are in various stages of getting ready. And
okay,
we are mainly spread out in Telangana, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and a little bit in West Bengal.
okay, okay, understood. And just wanted to understand, Mr. Talwar, all these franchisees, are you basically trying to brand it in a particular way? Like, for example, today, branding has become very important. So, when you say that
True.
you are present in Telangana, Andhra, so do you work under, a large mother brand which
Absolutely.
actually,
Because yeah, the BikeWO is the brand. So all these dealerships are branded as BikeWO. We have our
okay,
own SCI now, the showroom. Every BikeWO showroom looks the same. The board is the same. Outside, we
okay,
don't put the names of the brands. We only put BikeWO brand. Inside,
okay,
we park their vehicles.
okay,
And our
understood.
showroom basically comes in three levels. We have a state level dealership because transportation in EVs is a very costly affair. So
Yeah,
we have a state level dealer who would be mostly either in a capital or in a major city in that state. He supplies from us, we supply to him, and then he supplies directly to all the dealers.
okay,
Then we
okay,
have the district level dealership, which are called diamond dealership. So they will at a district level where all dealers in that district will buy from the diamond dealer. And
okay,
then we have a normal dealership, which could be in a
okay,
city, it could be in a tier one, tier two, tier three city, who buy from either a diamond or a state dealer.
okay, okay, understood. And now coming to the overall market opportunity, Mr. Talwar, I think electric vehicles have now taken off in a very big way. People know the advantages,
True.
and even the government is promoting electric vehicles in a big way. So tell me one thing, sir. In the next say 3 to 5 years, we have seen the migration of electric vehicles slowly and steadily in the Indian markets. Tell me one thing within the two-wheeler space, where we are largely dominant. What is your sense in the next say 3 to 5 years? How big could be this opportunity, and in what how can our company capitalize on this growth? So first of all, on the market growth in your perspective, And secondly, how can we capitalize on this growth? If you could share your thoughts.
See, the entire two-wheeler industry, if you see currently, is hovering around 1.6, 1.7 crores a year, which actually in 2017-18 had actually crossed 2 crores and it had come down a little bit. So, and currently EVs out of that sell about, last year we did about, I think, 13 or 14 lakhs of registered vehicles. And I would put another 10 to 12 lakhs unregistered vehicles selling in the market for which there is no confirmed data, but the estimates say that maybe equal amount of unregistered vehicles have also been sold. So that takes it to about 12 to 15% is the current market penetration, which has gone up from about 5% 2 years back.
Okay.
So even if in the next 3 years we take a market penetration of around 20 to 30%, so we could easily look at this market at least increasing 3 times to 4 times from its current size of 12 to 15 lakhs vehicles a year.
Okay. Okay. And
And in
what
that,
is
we plan to target at least we want to do about 3 to 5% of that market we want to capture.
Okay. Now tell me one thing, Mr. Talwar, what is the level of competitive intensity? Because you have a very unique model, you're putting a retail network in place, and obviously that is aiding a lot of electric vehicle, two-wheeler, OEMs. Tell me one thing in terms of the competitive intensity, first of all, how fierce is it? Is it that, this is a business where a lot of people are present, or it's basically a location-based kind of unique business? If you are in a particular location, you set up the business well, then obviously the market comes largely to you. Secondly is, in what way are we adding value to the customer? Finally, we are basically the middleman. We sell the vehicle to the final customer. Sir, हमारा basically value creation का क्या USP है? Like, forget the financial numbers, but in terms of value for the customer, are our service quality standards better than others? Is our quality of the product which we offer is also reliable? So the customer has got good trust on us. What is it that you could say are the 2, 3 qualitative points which highlights our work in this industry as compared to other players in the industry?
Coming down to the competition, obviously there are very few players like us, but there are a couple of other players who are doing similar work. And we also have competition from the exclusive dealers. OEM also has their dealers in some places. So we face competition from them. But then we too have an advantage because we as a company buy much huge in terms of volume from these manufacturers. So we definitely share a much better rapport in relation with these manufacturers, number one. Number two, yes, in case tomorrow any of these manufacturers do decide to disappear, which also happens in this industry, we know how to still service these vehicles so the customer doesn't have to worry about one manufacturer not being there in the market. So we will be able to still give him service, and we take up the responsibility of that vehicle once we sell it to the customer.
Okay.
So that's one of the most unique things that we bring. And lastly, none of the manufacturers, or I would say very rare, maybe one or two only, are able to give a wide range of vehicles. Most manufacturers produce 1, 2, or 3 models, unlike in the ICE engine. So we try to get different models from different manufacturers to give a complete range of vehicles to the customer, right from an electric small scooty to an electric motorcycle.
Okay. Okay. No, understood. So I think you provide a lot of innovation and variety to the customer. So that helps the
That is correct.
customer to make a much broader decision. Now tell me one thing. I was just looking at your cost structure, Mr. Talwar. From your profit and loss. Sir, main cost to हमारा acquisition of vehicles है. So when you
True.
acquire the vehicles from the OEMs, tell me one thing. How is the pricing decided? Like, obviously you might be deciding that in a bulk quantity you buy a particular type of scooty or maybe a small electric vehicle. Typically pricing ke time pe, how is the pricing decided? Is it negotiable, or is it based on your relationship with the electric vehicle OEM that we have done business for a long time? Because finally that decides your profitability in the business. Typically I just wanted to understand, apart from the cost, how do you work on your conversion margins? Because this is a industry where on your cost, obviously you add your conversion margin, and obviously that is how you make money. So sir, इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए.
In fact, it's a very valid question, and that is actually our game plan for the whole concept actually is based on that. If you know about automobile industry, sir, automobile industry heavily depends on volume incentives. More the volume, the better the incentives. A normal EV dealer sells nothing less than 8 or 10 vehicles a month. And that is the kind of 5 to 8 vehicles, actually, not even 8 to 10, it's 5 to 8 vehicles is what a normal EV dealer does. So he is not in a position to look at any kind of discounts that he can get from the manufacturer. Whereas we are able to put 40 to 80 to even 100 vehicles per OEM at one time. And as our dealerships go up, I expect that number to even go up higher. So we started, in fact, if you see, our margins were lower in the first year because we were also buying 20, 30 vehicles per month from per manufacturer. As that number is going up to 40 to 80 to 100, I'm able to get 2 to 5% extra from the
Oh,
manufacturer every time I place an order.
okay,
So in fact, that even happens in normal ICE engine. I mean, being a ICE engine dealer for products like Bajaj and Hyundai, I know how it worked. A month and you place another 40 vehicle order, you can definitely squeeze in 1-2% from the manufacturer. And
okay,
that's
okay,
exactly what is happening here because here the numbers being much higher, we are able to get much better deals from the manufacturer, and we are able to, and that is where I feel our margins will go up even further this year
okay.
because now that
And
the
I
numbers
think
are going, more dealerships are opening. So my volumes will go up. I will be able to negotiate even further with the manufacturer.
I think very rightly said, Mr. Talwar, because the next question was on your financials only, and I was just seeing your financial numbers, for the first 9 months for FY24, that is for December 23. You have rightly mentioned that as your volumes have gone up, your top line has also gone up, your profit after tax has also improved to 1.31 crores
True.
compared to the previous 2 crores. Now, tell me one thing, sir, if you can give us some idea that what has been the total volume you have sold. अगर थोड़ा सा आइडिया आप दो कि कितनी गाड़ियां हमने सारे डीलर्स को अगर पकड़ते हैं, सारे फ्रेंचाइजी आउटलेट्स को, तो सर हाउ मेनी नंबर ऑफ व्हीकल्स हैव बी सोल्ड in the first 9 months, because top line is 18 crores, bottom line is 1.31 crores. Last year itself, this top line, we have already crossed our last year's top line also, and of course the profitability now. So if you can give us some idea, sir, how many number of units, if you can give us, कितनी गाड़ियां हमने बेची है अभी तक दिसंबर तक?
You're talking about the current financial year, right, sir?
Yeah, current financial.
Current financial year.
You can give me an approximate number. I mean, no issues.
See, current financial year, we have sold vehicles approximately worth 9 crores in the year 23-24.
Okay. Mr. Talwar, I just wanted to know the volume data. As you said, this is a volume business, the automotive
True.
industry.
Yeah.
वो
So
कितनी
that's
गाड़ियां बेची
approximately equal to, that's about close to about 1,200, 1,300 vehicles.
Okay, okay, understood.
So we
And
have almost moved to about 100 vehicles a month.
okay, okay, no, understood. And going forward, sir, now we have already entered FY25. Now, without giving a number, we are now in September. What is your thinking? What are the kind of demand trends you are seeing on the ground? You're talking to customers, you're talking to your dealers. What is the kind of signals which you are getting from the ground? Will this year also, that is FY25, also be a significantly strong year for you in terms of volume growth, in terms of top line, in terms of profitability? So if you could at least share your thoughts, of course, giving a number is not possible for compliance reasons, but at least if you could share your, thoughts, how you think this year will pan out as compared to last year.
See, taking into account the number of dealers that we are expanding, my dealers that are under construction who are going to be ready in the next couple of months, and the new expansion plan that we have in the 11 new states that we have given in the as per the RHP, where we are the states where we're going to put our own stateship and then expand into those states. Keeping that into account, I think a minimum of 25 to 30% growth CAGR is definitely on the cards without any issue on that. Apart from that, now that vehicles are becoming older, there will be a lot of spare parts turnover happening. So we are going to be concentrating on selling parts of vehicles, and probably there we could even look at both ICE engine and electric vehicles. So looking at some focus to happen there, which will also give us both top line and bottom line.
Okay.
And we might even be expanding some other OEMs so that overall the numbers and go up. If we have more volumes, we can even have more, try to work with more OEMs in the market.
Okay. Okay. Understood. And now, most important question for the interview, Mr. Talwar, is basically we are planning to go public very soon. So if you could tell us, what is the size of the public issue which we are coming to the market, and what is the purpose of this issue, where the funds will be utilized, what are the main objectives of raising this money?
See, it's a 24 crore issue that we're coming out with, out of which we plan to close some of our loans, which we have taken for inventory. Major portion of that is 6 crores going to go into purchase of fresh inventory. And as I said, once we are able to buy more inventory, have money for that, we'll be able to negotiate higher, discounts with the manufacturer. So it's all about, holding the stock and, be able to give manufacturing. Another 6 crores we are going to spend in expanding to 11 more states where we don't have a presence today. where we want to have our own company stores in the capital. I mean, one store in each state, which will become the
Okay.
state dealer, and then from there we'll
Right.
proliferate and appoint other dealerships.
Okay.
And we are going to
Okay.
have a good. So from there also we'll be able to generate a good franchise income, which is also a pure
Okay.
profit. Bottom line. It helps us to improve our bottom
Okay.
line because franchise income is a full profit margin for us.
Exactly. Exactly. So
So
understood.
that is broadly.
Uh, I think one more thing which I wanted to understand, I was just seeing typically, Mr. Talwar, what is the working capital cycle in our business? Like we buy the product from the manufacturer, put it in the showroom, but typically, what is the time horizon when you get, the sale happen? Like there might be, you might be keeping the inventory for some time in your showroom, typically till the time
Yeah.
it is not sold. But then the customer comes, he pays the money either, cash or check, जो भी method से वो, पैसा देता है. Normally, sir, हमारे धंधे में working capital cycle, how long is it? If you could please give us some idea.
See, right from the time I place the order to getting the vehicle, getting it sold, and getting the money in, could range between anywhere between 30, 45 days to about 60 to 70 days,
Okay, okay,
depending on the
fine.
season. It happens seasonality. Sometimes in good season, it will come down to 35, 40 days, and in lean
Correct.
season, it could go up to 60 to 75 days.
Okay, okay, understood. And Mr. Talwar, just one another query which is very relevant in our business. Like, suppose you buy a particular quality of electric vehicles, and somehow the trend in that vehicle does not pick up. That inventory is not moving. Maybe 5% of the inventory what you thought earlier was good is not moving. In such cases, what is the normal strategy? Do you get some kind of benefit from the electric vehicle OEM that okay, you can try the new OEM range and replace it with the old inventory? क्या एक बार आपने इन्वेंट्री ली तो वो आपको बिकवानी ही पड़ती है, या कुछ पॉसिबिलिटी होती है कि उसको आप ओईएम को वापस देके नई इन्वेंट्री या नया रेंज का प्रोडक्ट्स ले सकते हो? That is what I want to
Yes,
know,
sir.
because typically turning your
Industry
inventory is
once
very important.
automobile industry, sir, none of the OEMs ever take inventory back. But yes,
Okay,
there will be a support definitely from them to make sure that we sell it. Number two,
okay,
having an advantage of being across the country. And once we have even more states, normally we have seen that there will be a different buying patterns in different places. So if a particular
okay,
product is not doing well in one place, I'm sure we can always push it in some other place where it may have demand. And
okay,
lastly, obviously, there will be some discounts which maybe the OEM will also share some discounts, and we'll have to drop
ah,
our margins on those vehicles and then probably liquidate them. If you see in December, there's always huge discounts on all automobile industry across the country.
very, very,
The reason
yeah,
for that is that automobile industry, that is how we work. That in November, December, when the market is down and the year is changing, we will give some extra discounts and reduce our margins on those vehicles like a clearance sale. That is the best way
okay.
to remove the stock.
Understood. I think this is very relevant because I know in November, December, you get vehicles at fairly competitive prices
True.
and a lot
That
of
happens
distressed stock.
because the stocks, whatever are unsold, then the
Ah,
dealers, manufacturer together, they will give some extra incentives and reduce their margins and try to give the best
correct.
offer to the customer to liquidate them. Yeah.
So, but I think last question now, Mr. Talwar. Typically in our business, to ensure that the continuity and the sustainability of the business continues, what is the main risk in our business? Like we have seen COVID mein to, it was one of the rarest of incidences. I mean, everything was closed now. Hopefully, touch wood, the economy is back. I think, the demand is again coming back to pre-COVID levels. Tell me one thing, sir. You have generated, such a strong business by your skill and acumen. Tell me what are the key challenges which you think are most important in our business, and what are the key risks, and how have you managed this risk so well? I mean, if you want to stay afloat, profitable, what is it that you constantly monitor and ensure that that is perfectly done from our side?
Sir, actually, I will answer this in something that my dad used to always say, that dealership or the trading business is the safest because we are selling what people want. So today, if the people don't want this, we will sell what they want.
Okay,
So it will be so our business, the risk is very, very low.
okay, okay.
Because once you have the setup, see, we are creating a network. My
Ah,
network is going to be so strong. Once my network is there, it doesn't matter what particular, whether today EVs, tomorrow EVs may become more advanced. We will, as I said, we can change the OE, we can get the better vehicles. So I have that
correct.
flexibility of changing. So my risk factor is very low. The risk
Okay,
factor for an OEM is very high because if he's selling something and that is not in demand, he's stuck with that vehicle. But for me, if his
correct,
vehicle is not selling, I can always go to somebody else whose vehicle is selling and add them to my fleet.
correct. Okay, so basically that gives you a lot of flexibility in
A lot of
ensuring that
flexibility in them.
that is very important. So I think that keeps you, nice, lean and fit in the business, and ensures
Exactly.
that whatever is saleable, whatever is in demand. I mean, obviously
I
that you
just I hold 1 to 1 stock. So if a particular vehicle is not selling, I just have to sell that 1 to 1 stock, and then I can shift the product, and I can look at a better product. I can look at another one.
correct. Okay. No, I think very nicely mentioned by you, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Talwar, and
It
please
was great,
accept my best
Avinash.
to your entire management team, and sir, best wishes for your public issue also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.